Hello everyone, welcome to today's teaching. I'm Karma Jimpa and I'll be your MC for today. Simultaneous translators are available on Zoom. To activate the interpretation, please click on the globe icon. Labeled language, interpretation, and select the language of your choice.
Вы можете
Do
выбрать
your translator in sequence. Mandarin is Bella, Cantonese is Seto, French is Olivia, Japanese is Akiko, Portuguese is Luciano, Russian is Sachi, Spanish is Sarah, Tibetan is Sonam Jatso. We will be opening the interpretation room now. Please hold on for a second.
Yeah, it's okay. Okay. So, yes, Bardo of awaken, which is so-called this conscious living. Although we should be really we don't have time, but we should be really discussing what we mean by living. You know, the definition of living is very, very murky. Living, and therefore living being. And then it really, it's like, then it really opens big subject. The study of living and living being. So when the Mahayana Buddhists say, may all beings, sentient beings, living beings, be happy or be free from suffering, all that. The definition of living is quite important, but maybe it will come up later. But anyway, for now, this projection that you are sitting there and I'm sitting here, and today is slightly cold, all that. And this is year 2022, all of that. So this is the Bardo of awaken. And we talked about how this perhaps is probably the most important for a yogi. I mean, for an aspiring yogi. Okay, I should really be more specific. For beginners, this is the most important. Because here, you will be bothered by feeling awkward, you know, stuff like angst that we talked yesterday. Now, if you are slightly more matured yogi, then, of course, the dream Bardo, very handy, because a lot of things you can do without much risk and free of charge. There's a lot of free lunch during the dream. Well, not entirely. According to the Bodhisattva Yana, even in the dream, you could create karma. But there's the dream Bardo, which we discuss. And if you are a yogi, you try to manipulate manipulate is not the right word. You try to take advantage of the dream Bardo because it's very, very lucrative for awareness. It can be very lucrative. Okay, now the Samadhi. I didn't finish some of the points. Samadhi is this Samadhi Bardo. When we talk about 6 Bardo, the Bardo of Samadhi, of course, not everybody has. Those who are not doing the Samadhi, of course not. They don't have the Samadhi Bardo. Although there are some argument from some other scholars. Some other scholars that I think it's becoming too technical. Maybe I think for now, let's just say the Samadhi Bardo is your choice. You want to do Samadhi, and supposedly you should choose, because the world, like this world this is a very unique world. It's a very, very unique world, because it's just so interesting, isn't it? I mean, there's things like trees, mountains. This is Bir. A little bit down there, there's a place called Bejnath. All that is so fantastic. It's such a unique world, the Bardo of Awaken. Even more unique world of the universe is the dream world. There, amazing thing happens. And it's like the dream that I told you, my own experience. It's another world, totally. Suddenly, you speak strange languages, you can understand language, so on and so forth. Now the Samadhi, world of Samadhi is actually another world. And this is the world that a lot of people don't even come close. Lot of what we do nowadays, mindfulness and relax, I don't think they are really going to the Samadhi world. They're just relaxing. They're going to a resort. They're just relaxing with the help of music, awakened world, some incense, awakened world, right? Cushion, nice environment, awakened world. But if you can enter to the Samadhi world, and by the way, I'm making it sound like it's something so exotic you will not be able to. It's actually not. It's so simple. It's too easy. You can't just buy it. Many, many things. It's too simple. You will not trust it, and you will not buy it, and you will, it's not, it's too simple, one, and it's too uninteresting. And this is one of the problems, because you are doomed as a seeker of interesting life. This is what happened from the time you went to the kindergarten school all the way until you finish Oxford. You have been told that things has to be sensible, things has to be interesting. So you have become a sucker of interesting life. And this is why this moment of narrowness, this moment of actually the great Gagyupa people, the Mahamudra people, the Milarepa, I'm sure you may have heard this guy called Milarepa. According to his lineage, they even term it as a Tamalji Shepa, which means ordinary mind. They say that the whole problem arises because you want to be special. You want to have the special thing. The ordinariness is what you should be looking for. Anyway, we don't need to go in there right now, but okay, so it's too simple and it's too ordinary. It's just not interesting. Okay? The worst one. It's too scary. It's because you are so, it's very similar to maybe the interesting, but there's some difference too. You are so used to comfort zone, and this is very scary. Try yourself to meditate. After 2 minutes, you are looking for a phone because you are so scared, in the form of boredom probably. It begins with a boredom and begins with a bit of alienation, so on and so forth. This is like the ultimate alienation, if you like. But this is good for you, you know. You want to be left alone? This is it. This is the art of being left alone. But who wants to do this? It's too scary. And this is what the great Indian masters, I should not be just saying by just the Buddhism. Amazing tradition, Jain, Sankhyas, and Purva Mimangsas, Nyayas. They have so much instructions on how to appreciate this ordinariness. And this is actually doable. And it's really, it has not, it's like, it's actually doable, it's so simple. But yeah, I don't know, for some reason, we just don't do it. We just cannot dwell on that. And this simplicity, this ordinariness is for the beginners. You should look for, long for, aspire for. You should really search. You should really go around searching for this. And then there's a stages of really going deeper and deeper and deeper into the simplicity. And this is why I confused everyone yesterday. I said the core practice or the pith instructions for the Bardo of Samadhi is to shrug off. What are we shrugging off? Everything that makes things not simple. Everything that makes things colorful, interesting, sensible, we shrug off. And that's so scary. And it's really, really bad if you want to sell this. Nobody wants to buy this because it's just, how do you market this? Hey, do you want this? That's totally sort of useless, something like this. But anyway, if you even for a split moment. I mean, just for the sake of conversation, split moment, not go in the past, not go into the future, and just be aware. I'm looking at this purple flower and just being there, even for a split moment. That moment is this exceptional, incredible world. This world is uncontaminated by references. What an amazing world. You know, how much problems do we have with the gender issues? Why? Because it's too complicated. Here, in that moment, you are not man, not woman, none. How many problems do we have with the color, religion, all of this? But as I said, it's very scary because you will, you know, and also be a sort of trapped with this system of paying bills and stuff like this. So what to do? But anyway, 3, Bardo, which I wanted to just recap in case there's people who are new, just walk in today. Now, some of the term I'm using here, I'm doing it just this time so that we can communicate. So I'm maybe not translating the terms properly. Okay, so Chika Bardo of dying now. Now this will take some time. Okay, first, just briefly. When we enter, so-called enter into this world, we did it with the help of 5 elements. And just like that, as we are exiting this world, is also going to be because of the 5 elements. Okay, just first, let me just briefly, summarize. So, as I tell you, I'm going to go through this stages as if you are dying. Okay, very big generalization. Okay, so big generalization because the way you die differs. You may die just, suddenly, quick. You may die slowly. But no matter how you die, all the experience of what we call dissolution of elements have to come because they have to disintegrate. Also, the order of how which element disintegrate first may be different for different people. Okay. And also not to think about this dissolution is only going to come just about a week before you die. Let's say you're going to die sort of slowly. Some of us, it may be already happening. This is dissolution, disintegration. People like, me, him. Richard, I'm pointing at you. Some of us, over the hill, these kind of people, it may be already happening. So, yes, we don't want the unexpected, quick one. So, this may be coming, okay? And there is this is a very big subject. I mean, it is because of that also we become, what do you call it? Senile, right? Is there something opposite of senile when you are a child? What do you call it? Juvenile? Yeah? Like something like a kids, also you cannot really call it senile, but kids also have a different way of thinking. Not matured anyway. So again, just to give you the picture of how much the elements influence us. Okay, 5 elements. And then of course, the 5 senses. They are like the 5 interpreters. Oh, they play very, very big role. So big, big. So just imagine, for instance, you have your 2 eyes on your toes. You will be taking different kinds of photographs. You'll be posting different kinds of photographs on your Instagram. Different view. Everything will be very interesting, right? Stuff like that. You just see things differently because you have a different position. But during the death, as you are dying and then as you are getting close to the death and up to the death, what happens? This eye is not only not on your face, also not on your toes. It's not working, the eye. But you will see things in the most amazing way. Because finally you are looking at things without the interpreter, without your secretary, without your interpreter, without the go-between middle person. Direct transaction between you and the object. And this could be very scary. Because right now you are looking at a green, so many filters, oh, so many, including your education, whatever. But after you die, all of that's gone. Okay, like me right now, Mr. Norbu is looking at, I know where's this come from. This is Karma Jimba's work, must be, right? So I'm looking at this marijuana, right? Is it marijuana? Yeah. And see, this is a good example. Me, Norbu, green, marijuana, Mexico. See, it's all related. Mexico, Vancouver. What do you call them? Those gangsters? No, the Mexican gangsters, what do they? Cartel, yeah. And then all that. See, Rasta, what is it? Yes. And the beret and the dreadlock. See, all this gets lumped together. So this is how I look at the green color. Now, as I die, the sense of Norbu is, I don't know who I am many times. I'm not a male. So that's sort of going or gone. And who's this guy? The Be Happy, Don't Worry singer? Bob Marley, yes. You could be eating with Bob Marley, but you still don't know anything to do with this. By then, you understand? And then actually it gets even more interesting. If your karma is pushing you to become a pig in East Bhutan, when you look at this, you will have saliva coming from the mouth. Because in Bhutan, they feed this to the pigs. Already you'll have a saliva in your mouth. This is how the karma works. Okay. Anyway, disintegration of elements and the sense, 5 sense, and then 18 dhatus, 12 ayatanas. We are not going to go through all this technique because it's really too vast, I think. But okay, so generally a very big generalization, and this is probably a good generalization, even though it's a generalization. Most probably the fire element may be dissolving first, most probably fire element. So you will have not much heat in your body. And then earth element dissolves, and then water element dissolves. So there's extensive, each time, each element when they dissolve, there's extensive teachings by Zelen Nasser and many other Bardo teachings, which I guess you can refer to the text. These are translated, by the way. When each element dissolves, there's a sign, the outer, inner, and secret sign that they are dissolving. For instance, when the earth element dissolves, gravity may be no more. So difficult to stand up, difficult to sit, difficult to move, all that, so on and so forth. So I think and when all these elements are dissolved, then the, what is it? Especially the air elements, the most important, one of the most important out of all these elements is air element. The breathing stop, so on and so forth. That's what we call death, when the breathing stop. Not for a Buddhist, because there's still earth and space element. Still, there's some element. remaining. But maybe, I don't know, we'll just go through ones first. Okay, so this is a little difficult for those who are totally new. In the Tantra, they talk about bindu, drop. Just hear it anyway. Doesn't matter. Don't worry if you don't understand what I'm talking about. They talk about white and red drop. Supposedly, this white drop dwells somewhere, on your forehead level. And this red drop dwells somewhere below the navel. In case you just want, Kundalini, all that business is because of this. But there's so much more. They say that this white drop and the red drop is what is being reflected as the sun and the moon that you see. Oh, so many things, so many things. And they are at the moment separated, one above, one below. When all the elements are dissolved and disintegrated, the white drop will fall down and red drop will fall up, and they will meet at the center of the heart. And then each one will have a different experience, which I guess we will talk a little later. Okay, so all the element, including the element of space, dissolve into consciousness, and then consciousness dissolve into what we call luminosity. Now, this is a major subject. What is that luminosity? To explain this luminosity, the whole teachings of things like Mahamudra, Mahasandhi, so many teachings. What is this luminosity? It's, by the way, one thing I need to tell you, this luminosity is not an imaginary state. It's not. It's there all the time, right this very moment, even as we talk. If you and I don't have this luminosity, we have no cognizance. But is this the cognizance we are talking? The cognizance as in, the flower, the marijuana? No. That is already, regurgitated, gross, thick. Already, gross level. We are talking about, I don't know, I don't think the word cognizance does the justice. I guess in Sanskrit, vidya, it has a self of cognizance. I mean, it has that. See, this is important. This is not like a blank, empty. But it doesn't also have a color, shape, no substance. It's not an annihilation of blankness because it has the cognizance. Okay. Now let me just go through once. So what happens? This referencelessness is the biggest, is the most scary thing for the most ordinary people. For the yogis, because they have already been training during the dream yoga and during the samadhi, relating with this, this cognizance. It's called Pei Yeshe, meaning example wisdom. So whenever we are meditating, we are looking at, let's say you have never been to Bodh Gaya. You are looking at the picture of the Bodh Gaya and then read the map of how to go to Bodh Gaya. And then hear from other people who have been to Bodh Gaya, all description. This is what is called, hearing, contemplation, and meditation. So when you meditate, basically you are looking at the Bodh Gaya picture, I guess. Now, this yogi dies. And then for the yogi, remember I was telling you, for the aspiring practitioner, this awakened Bardo is very important for us, for the beginners, remember? But for the yogi, this Bardo of dying is so precious. Why? Okay, what is it that the yogis really want? One sole goal for the yogi is to experience this luminosity. And this is what you have been practicing. Finally, not because you are such a great practitioner, but just because all your elements are disintegrating. So there is a free chance. Your nature is forcing you to this that you always want to see. Plus your own practice. You have your own practice, right? And your elements are helping you by disintegrating. So for us, we are so scared of the death. For the experienced yogi, okay, this is it. I'm getting close. Let's be careful. This is it. I should not lose my chance. So they are not scared. But for most of the ordinary people, the moment all the elements are dissolved, consciousness elements, space elements, they all dissolve into the luminosity. The experience is, in Tibetan, we call it the word is jal. I think the best term I can come up with is faint. So for most of the ordinary people, faint like a stone, like total, it's too much. Referencelessness is too much, because reference is such a comfort. Because it's at least a reference. People who have a low self-esteem, they think they are so bad, which is very miserable, of course. But at least they have a reference, thinking they are bad. Here, more scary. They don't know what to do. They are neither good nor bad. What is this? This is sort of don't know what to do with it. How do you relate with this? This squeezing up, yeah. So this experience of being faint, or coma is maybe not the right word, maybe, I don't know. Okay, so let me define Bardo in this case. From the time your elements are disintegrating, you are dying now, all the way until this faint luminosity. This is Bardo of dying. Totally different universe, totally different world. And their description is just so many. If you read like Bardo Tadol, I used to read by heart, but now, because when we were growing up in places like Bhutan, as a lama, as a reincarnated tulku, this is one of the job. So when people are dying, we have to go and take this text and read, okay, so this is happening, So like there are so many wonderful instructions. There's a conversation between Guru Rinpoche Pamasambhava and his consort Yeshe Tsogel. It's really nice. It's like there are things like, oh, okay, maybe by now you may be feeling you are falling from a cliff and you are trying to get hold on to something. And then we say, don't worry, it's got nothing to do with, you are not falling from the cliff. There is no cliff. Your earth element is just dissolving. You are safe. It's just your earth element dysfunctioning. So on and so forth. Things like, I've actually put it together, a small booklet. What is it called? Living is Dying, right? Yeah. I put, kind of try to make it more easier. I don't know, there's just so much. Okay. So much information here. Because death is something to do with the disintegration and the dysfunctioning of your elements. Therefore, it's also there's also a gradual disintegration of chakras. And each one chakras, there's supposedly 5 or 4 chakras. Chakras, for those who are very new, best I could describe is like a confluence of your Nadi vein, maybe, your channels. So supposedly there are 5 confluence of these channels, and each of these channels has so many function. And they also have, I mean, how do we begin this? This is so big. according to the Tantra, this channels and the chakras, when they reflect, then it becomes the outer world. And these confluence of specific channels, when they reflect to a specific place, this place also become very, very significant. One is Kangra, by the way. Well, Kangra, very important one. And Jawlaji, yeah, is one of them. Many places. One is Kamakia in Guwahati. Have you ever been? It's so good. It's one of the best. So, I don't think the modern people will really understand this. I mean, for a long time, I even don't talk about this in a gathering with a lot of modern people. But right now, I'm kind of little bit inspired by Mr. Marquez Cabrera. 100 Years of Solitude. Have you read? Fantastic. And I don't know whether Rowan, if he's listening, I have to say, I talked to a English who gave me a pointing out instructions of 100 Years of Solitude. And it really helped me. He said, the colonial people have labeled this kind of book as magical realism. And it's a sort of a very magical realism. It's not real, it's sort of magical. It's a very colonial word. And this really helped me because there are just amazing worlds. It doesn't have to be always a certain way, but here you need to be really open-minded, I guess. So I was talking about reflection of your channel as a place. Oh, by the way, Kulu is one of them. Kulu. So we are actually surrounded by three important places, I guess. One of my favorite is Kamakia in Guwahati. Such a good place. Long time ago I went there. As I was going there was all these girls, heavy makeup, lined up, and they were all like me, like lining up. I was already briefed who they are. So depending on your budget, you can bring one all the way to 64. The highest is the 64 ladies. You bring them to the main shrine. You offer them food, offer them gifts, wash their feet, and if possible, wash your head with this washing feet water, drink. This is what you are supposed to do. When I went there, I think there was, I don't know how to even put the word hired, not really hired, right? You can't really say that. I managed to, grab. There was a lot of other people who wants this. So 20, I think. I was very happy. Yeah. And this is their job, So I did all of that. They gave me the blessing and they're immediately rushing to the next not customer, I should say devotee. What do you think? Such an amazing stuff. Anyway, Kamakia. There's so many places. And it does not always have to be, this is the thing. It doesn't have to be just India. It can be anywhere. It can be somewhere in New York, somewhere in the Bronx, a 7-Eleven, run down 7-Eleven, it can be that. When the channel, the confluence of the channel meets with the right cause and condition, you go to the Bronx, you go to Harlem, I don't know, wherever you entered this very dingy 7-Eleven, you see all this, I don't know, the American hot dog, whatever, and it can really do something to you. It can really, it can shift you forever. But there are also the opposite kind of effect too. There are some places where the channel confluence could reflect negative energy. Like a British Parliament House, for instance. Just teasing him a bit. You know, it's really like, oh goodness, you know, like you feel. It can inspire you. I mean, it must have happened to you. It has to happen. Even inside within one area, like a Khan market, there has to be one spot that actually Carlos Castaneda, he talks about this a little bit. I have a feeling he got this somewhere in this, or maybe the native Indians, they believe in this spot where you sit. Anyway, I'm talking too much about these channels, but the channels are important. So anyway, these channels and chakras, the confluence, they disintegrate. So when they disintegrate, psychologically, mentally, also things change. Yeah, sorry, this is a really difficult one. This is, and the next one is also difficult. So we take a short break and then I will let you ask some questions. Probably then I would know whether we are even communicating here. Should
It's only 10 minutes break, so please return within 10 minutes. Thank you.
I wanted to ask if luminosity is clear light.
Okay. Let me tell you, because this term, luminosity, clear light, these are very misleading terms. At glance, it seems to talk about actual light, as in this light. I don't think English has this word to translate properly, the vidya. The Sanskrit term vidya has actually, from the tantric point of view, 3 characters. One is, it doesn't have a color, shape, nothing, shunyata aspect. The other is, when we say it has nothing, it doesn't mean there's nothing. There is a constant, this is where the word is not awareness. But when we talk about awareness, we are not talking about a subject-object awareness. Okay, so that's the second. The third is these two, even though there are 2 things, they are actually in union. So even in Buddhism, when we study, there are study concentrated more on the shunyata aspect, emptiness aspect, such as Madhyamika. Then there are studies such as Uttara Tantra or Prajnaparamita, which is more the study of the cognizance or the awareness aspect. Okay, but then the union bit, if you want to hear the complete picture of the union bit, you study Tantra. This is a very, very important one, actually. And the reason, and this is not just because we love to have a category. In fact, it's a really big subject because, okay, here I will tell you, this is important. So I want to, and it's actually related to here. And one of the greatest commentator of this is a Longchenpa. So good, and I will try to translate this into our normal day-to-day life, okay? So, at times, you feel down, depressed, hopeless, angst. What is happening at that time? At that time, the emptiness aspect is, how do I put it? Okay, one easy way to explain this is you are not understanding the emptiness, or emptiness aspect is too much. The awareness aspect is lower. Yeah. So that's how people become very hopeless. It really relates. And then what it produces is emotions such as anger to oneself, anger to others, assertiveness, and then all the way to the war. Okay, that's one. And that could be happening between 10 now till 11. After a nap, a good lunch, after a nap, you wake up. It could be like that. You feel very full of yourself. As you know, you are very full of yourself, vain, proud, I don't know, creative, all that. At that time, what's happening? You are getting carried away by the awareness aspect. It could also lead to trouble, by the way. So, okay, so the union one part is the most difficult, because we are talking about the union. It's like when we are looking at the carpet, we are not seeing the thread. You know what I'm talking about, the thread? We don't see thread, we just see a carpet. So there is that avidya, ignorance of union. And this is all pervasive, When we, even when we interact with somebody, either be carried away by one of these three, or at least from the Mahayana point of view, at least one of the two. And nihilism, eternalism, hope, fear, Democrat, Republican. I think so. Really, if you look at it, capitalist, socialist, oh, this seems to have a connection there. Very, I don't know, it's like this. Anyway, maybe ask more questions, if any questions. Yeah. Ajit, okay.
Thank you very much. I also had the similar question, but you gave the answer. But my second question is that yesterday, when you introduced Bardo, you said that this is Tantra, but at the same time, you showed correlation with the Abhidhamma.
Mm-hmm.
So Abhidhamma is not in the category of Tantra.
No.
So how is that correlation? I think
Abhidhamma has a very good teachings on dhatus. That's what I was talking. So if you want, it can help. Because by the time you are studying Tantra, we are assuming that you already have quite a good picture on Abhidharma. So this is why. But if you want to know the instructions on what to do with these, dissolution experience, I don't think Abhidharma has much. They will tell you things like, okay, remember the Buddha's name. Let somebody talk about impermanence of life. Pray to be not distracted. That's about it. But in the Tantra, they can go really, really detailed, step by step. But like, you remember I was talking about Karma Lingpa?
Yeah.
Karma Lingpa is one of the, he really has a very, very extended teachings on this. He has even touched on subjects like, okay, so maybe now your crown chakra is dysfunctioning. As your crown chakra is getting disintegrated, this and that kind of experience will happen. Okay, now don't be distracted. Don't be afraid. Think this, think that. So many instructions like that. And many times people read it as a ritual, what to do. So sad, but it's a wonderful, actually, it's a really, really wonderful guide to this 3 Bardo that we are going to talk. I mean, we are still talking the 4th one. Okay, any more? Yeah,
Hi, Rinpoche. So I had one question that is related to the chakras. So as you were saying that these confluences exist in the external world out of the body, as I've understood it, you've mentioned when you were talking about the Bardo of the awake state, living as projection. So I wanted to know a little bit of that. And another one is that, are these confluences also projections, like external confluences?
It is.
So that means it should be subjective, like.
Yes, all these are until the luminosity.
Okay.
Everything has a subjective objective, but the subjective objective become much more refined, much more refined.
So I would like to know a little bit about the projection part. What did you mean by that?
Yes, that's. Wow. I'm trying to get something that we can talk sort of, because okay, first, the example. Why do people use this? Bang. Why some people use this? Because they want to have a different kinds of projection. That's what it is. Because they're just so stressed. Friends, families, job. It's just too much. So, projection changes. Suddenly, I can maybe walk naked. Doesn't matter. Why? Because when this goes inside, it hits the Nadi channels, chakras. It really manipulates the confluence and the channels. But the Buddhist yogi will say, don't do this because you'll end up needing to buy this. You understand? You'll end up becoming, and then of course there's the police. Oh, by the way. So we don't want that, right? So what do? We do, there are many practices such as pranayama. But the pranayama that is taught before the yoga, that's like foundation. There's just so many, what do you call it? I was talking about the 6 yogas. The first yoga is actually the yoga of heat, tumo. That has so many, and it's all about manipulating or interacting with these channels. Yes, so channels do project. In fact, whole 6 realms is inside. Animal, God realm, everything. Tushita, heaven, the hell, everything. According to the Karma Lingpa, I think hell realm, so-called hell realm, is a confluence of channels here, right on the soul. So, a very sort of ardent Buddhist practitioners, when their friends and family die, sometimes they will give you advice as the person is dying. The family, friends, they will try not to touch the feet as they are dying. Because if you touch this, consciousness may go right there. And then you may go through the experience of the, what do you call it? hell, yeah, hell is such a bad translation of Nyalwa, what to do. But anyway, hell. Yeah. So that's what they do. So instead, many yogis will try, especially, it depends on who's dying. If the dying person is a yogi, don't touch, because they know what to do and you don't want to mess it up. So you don't touch. If the dying person is sort of devoted, sort of practicing, but not so good, and you know, maybe he's faltering a little bit, then you touch the head, crown chakra, or heart also. I think it depends again. Most probably the Buddhists will, because Buddhists really don't want to go to heaven, because they prefer the human realm. Human realm is the realm. That's where you need to book your ticket. There is no, you know, like, it's true. It's the hungry, I mean, heaven is considered, it's really, you know, especially, okay, if you can go to hell realm for 1 eon, let's say, then some yogi practitioners may opt to do that. Why? Because you may end up being born in God realm, where you will be stoned for 100 eon. You know, like, lots of this. And this, from the Buddhist point of view, you don't, you really want to waste your time? 100 eon? Might as well just go to the 1 eon of hell. And especially if your instructor have said, right after 1 eon, you will go on reborn in bees, or something like this as a human, and meet, you know, Chandra Kirti. Yes, 1 eon, who cares? That's how they will think. Just give you some sort of, what do you call it, animated version of how the karma works. And then if the yogi is really matured, 1 eon, that's like 1 second. Let's just go for a detour. Anyway, I've never been to hell. Maybe, you know, there's something to see. After all, we go to bars. Okay, what else?
Rinpoche, just 2 questions. One is about the Bardo Samadhi. Is this an entryway to the jhanas?
Yes, so very much.
Is Tamadhishepa an entryway to jhana? Because in the way you're sort of implying.
Yeah, because the word jhana, by the time when you talk about Tamadhishepa, then it has a different meaning of jhana that Sarvakayana people talk about. Because I think you are talking about the jhana of not distracted, you know, up to the higher stages of the Sarvakayana Vipassana, right?
Well, they're all shrugging off.
Yes,
yes.
5,
4, 3, 2, 1 factors.
Yes, yeah.
Then the second question was about the elements. We have the nadis, the prana and bindu, but you don't hear elements being talked about in that system.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the relationship between the elements and the nadi, prana and bindu? Why are they involved with the nadi, prana and bindu?
Because they are the most gross outer expression of the inner nadi and the channels.
Oh, okay. So
that's what I was saying. In fact, the white drop and the red drop, the most gross reflection is the sun and moon.
So they're you mean the four elements?
The most gross, yes.
I see. So the nadis are the elements at a finer level, is that correct?
Yes.
But then as you go into the Bardo of luminosity, do the nadis themselves begin to disintegrate? What happens to them? Do they become finer and turn into syllables or
Yes,
something?
yes. Actually, a few years ago, I was in Delhi, and because I had a lot of back problem, somebody told me I should do yoga. So I went to yoga class, Shivananda yoga. So I took the whole course. And this yoga master, it's a proper, yoga master. And he was a really good Hindu practitioner. And I was so bad with upside down, what do you call it? What's asana? Yeah, I was so bad. And he was saying, oh, you really have to do. He said, he was telling me, if you can do that for 3 hours, time will stop. He was reading the script. And I was joking to him, of course time will stop because by then I'll be dead. Then he said, he was also calling me Guruji. Said, Guruji, no joke. Time is, and actually he's right, because I think what he's talking about is exact. You see, channels and the chakras are what measures time. You see, the Buddhists really, really don't believe time as truly existing. It's just this. In fact, there's a really, really in some Tantra, they talk about how some of these drops, they travel through your channels. And some of these drops, as they reach to a particular confluence, because of the strong, collective energy of this drop going to a certain spot, a certain confluence, tide of the ocean, waxing and the waning of the moon, and then female menstruation, all this appears. And this is why for the Tantrikas, there are specific days, depending on the moon. There's which is coming, one is coming like day after tomorrow, I think. It's a day of what they call Dakini. And this is supposedly the day where you have to really, well, the classic term is Gana Chakra. But what it really is a practice of what I have always called the systematic practice of union of elegance and outrageousness. Do whatever you want to do. You want to talk like a cat? Go ahead, but don't lose your elegance. How do you do that? And then now it has all dwindled down and degenerated to buy some biscuits, put it on the shrine, some, I don't know, orange juice, and then everybody sit together, do some chant, and then eat. What to do? Such is the degenerated time. But actually, if you can, be brave. Go ahead and do this thing. The elegance and the outrageousness is, one should not cancel each other. Okay. Yeah.
What's Guru Rinpoche Day? Is that the same? 10th.
Oh, Guru Rinpoche Day is a little bit different, but the thing is, for the Nyingmapas, this maybe you need to know this. For the Nyingmapas, if you really, really grill them, tell me who is this Guru Rinpoche? No, really, tell me. I know all this stuff about he went to Tibet and, he met this and that. He was born in the lotus, and I'm not happy with this. Just tell me who is Guru Rinpoche. Now, they will say, this luminosity. This is it. This is it, and this is always there. This is what they will say. And there's a lots and lots of teachings on that, how to, and this is not the right time to talk. To do that, one need to have the bit of an attitude, you have to have a different kinds of attitude. But generally, this luminosity is really, really important. And don't think this luminosity is going to come later. Don't. It's there all the time. But when you die, when the disintegration of the elements and all of this happens, it becomes more vivid. The true color comes out. Your true color comes out, and most of the people, you are so shocked, you will faint. And from the time you are beginning to disintegrate till you faint is this fourth Bardo. And we will come back to this if you want, but I think that's about all I can say right now, because we need, the next one is equally more complicated. Oh, big chunk forgotten. Remember, each Bardo, we have what to do. Remember? Now, what to do with this one? Oh, there's so many. There's so many things. I think there are few that are crucial and fundamental. Questions on Zoom? Really? Okay, wait, let me just finish this. The most fundamental instruction is you are projecting. This is it, actually. You are projecting. Actually, that's it. Bottom line, that's it. But having said that, not that, you try to tell somebody who's in love right now, like somebody like Raghav, who is very in love with somebody, okay. And then you try to tell him, that's your projection. Oh, he said, no, this is not my projection. This is real, right? Even in our day-to-day life, in this mundane world, we cannot buy that it's our projection. You cannot. You try to tell SP that Modi ji is his projection. He will not say no. It's a hologram. He won't. So it's even more difficult to talk to a dying person. Look, you are this and that channels and chakras are disintegrating. Your elements are disintegrating. You are seeing things. You understand? You are a piece of work. You can't tell that. But the masters of the past have crafted so many ways to talk. Even tunes. They have actually, like Pamalingpa, he has some special tunes to talk. Supposedly the dying person, if you sing, then they sort of get mesmerized by this song. I guess if you have a good voice, then you get mesmerized. And there's so many. There are even like substance. There are substances that you can actually put in their mouth. There are substances that you can smoke. There are pictures, such as the paintings of the Amitabha. Show it to them. And then make them calm, and then say things like, Don't be afraid. You are not going to die because you are already dead. Now there's no more death. Stuff like this. But fundamentally, let's say, okay, so let's make it very practical. If you are dying after the morning session, then, and if you are not that prepared, you need to remember, hey, this is my projection. This is really my projection. If you can do more, this is all my projection. When, and then long, or create this readiness to face the luminosity. This is it. When the luminosity comes, I am not going to back off. I am not going to be afraid of referencelessness. You have been talking about going out of the box all this time. Yeah, here it is. This is it. Finally, you are getting the chance. You are being pushed out from the box. Somebody's, it's like you're being thrown away from the box, which you always want. Be ready. Long for the longing, and what do you call it? Basically, the opposite of animosity towards the referenceless. Loving, longing. Curious is good enough. Curious. Let's see. All this time, the Buddhists talk about reincarnation and all this. Let's see, this is the chance. I want to really see whether all these Buddhist scriptures are true or not. Finally, I'm getting the chance. Let's see. Some sort of curiosity. This will also help. Plus, if you have a Vajra brothers and sisters, Dhamma brothers and sisters, then they should also give you proper, instructions coming from different texts. There's so many. Even chanting Om Mani Padme Hum. By the way, Dzongsar Rinpoche's teaching that I'm basing on is actually part of the Avalokiteshvara teaching, which I extracted. Om Mani Padme Hum, these 6 syllables. Even as you chant Om Mani Padme Hum, these words, what do? They manipulate the channels. So Om manipulates the channel. I think it's the crown chakra, and it really pacifies the projection of the heaven, God realm, so on and so forth. Okay. If you want to know more about this, there is actually a translated version of Paltu Rinpoche's very, very good teaching on the 6 syllables. Om Mani Padme Hum. Avalokiteshvara. Anyways, each syllable manipulates 6 doors, 6 realms. So even that, even if you can't chant, somebody else chant. It's also good. Okay, you want to ask? Yeah?
There are many questions actually, but see how it goes.
Okay.
So the first question is from Jennifer from Malaysia. Jennifer from Malaysia. What happens in sudden death if one has no Bardo experience?
Well, as I was saying, you have no choice. You have to have, because you will land on that luminosity, no matter what. Okay,
Second one looks like more of a Vajrayana question, but this is from Amy. What does the Bardo after mind separates from this body look like? And I'm confused by the peaceful and wrathful deities.
That's coming, the next one. Don't worry.
Okay. This question from Mari. Since you mentioned that it takes Buddha nature to exit the Bardo, doesn't it imply that Buddhahood is for all time?
Can you repeat that again?
Since you mentioned that it takes Buddha nature to exit the Bardo, doesn't it imply that Buddhahood is for all time?
I think I'm in the Bardo right now. Okay. This one, okay.
Yeah. If we are aware only for a split moment, it doesn't amount to much in the end, right?
Oh, yes, yes. Even a split moment of facing to this luminosity, wow, it will do something to you. I'm telling you, it's like your samsara will be forever dented, damaged, poked, whole. Recoverable, even a glimpse, and that can be done actually. You have nothing to lose. There's no reason to, not to do. Okay.
A practitioner with a Christian background who is very committed with meditation but hasn't developed sadhana practice will also see the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in the Dharmata Bardo, is a question. And
if you are talking to a yogi, I mean, technically, yes, because, like Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, which is going to come, I think tomorrow, we will be talking about this Bardo. It's really, again, your projection, remember? I need to be a little bit, I need to define this question, this answer a bit, because person with a Christian background or any other, especially, let's say Abrahamic religion, because the view is different, the fundamental view is different, then a lot of the method that is found in the Buddhism may not necessarily apply because the view is different. The Christian view, I don't think, is non-duality. And that will just, I don't think it works. Okay.
There's a second part to this question. Are the peaceful and wrathful projections of the Bardo after death transcultural or tied to culture?
Oh, of course. Those wrathful and peaceful deities don't look like one painted by Tibetans. That's what they mean, right? Yeah. Of course. If you really want more descriptive, I think you should go to those Yonkan Museum in Japan. They have some really good ones. Yonkan? Yeah. Okay.
How should we understand the words that
anyway, we will talk about these deities tomorrow. It's quite big.
How should we understand the words, the display of Rigpa?
Oh. I mean, just to answer, like basically everything is a display of your awareness. Everything. Nothing left. Nothing, yeah.
We have time for one more question.
Yeah.
Will beings in the lower three realms go through Bardo like us? Will they have memory of their previous lives?
Yes, all of them. But these instructions are designed for human. So language is very human oriented, isn't it? But they will definitely go through all the Bardo experience.
From Veronica, she's saying, how do we learn to trust in all this magic without having experienced anything?
Well, you have to kind of what do you call it? Be brave and be critical towards your rational mind, because anyway, I will tell you this. This is important. Actually, the guy died last year. Lama Godi. When did he die? Last year? This was one man in Bir. He said he will sooner go to hell realm than a realm where you are stuck with rationalism. So that's it. Tantrikas, they really don't like rationalism because they think it's just such a systematic way of making yourself so limited. But you can't tell that to these kind of modern people. But I would say, I'm sure this person likes idea of adventure. This is it. So my answer here, I think, is what if it is actually true? Might as well prepare now. Because by the time you are going to the fourth dissolution of your element, you can say, oh, where's my book? You can't really say that. You can't. I think it's good to already prepare. Nothing much to lose. Okay.
There's a question saying, when I'm trying to practice dream bardo, I have difficulty to practice satipatthana. Could you give me some advice on this?
Oh, that's normal. But, once what do you call it? You get used to it, you can do it vice versa. So just keep on doing the breathing again and again.
One more question.
Yeah, okay.
Can I open and join red and white bindu while I meditate, or is it only possible to do that while one is dying?
Oh, as a practice, you can already do it during some of this tantric practice. There is actually a lot. Yeah, there's actually a lot that involves breathing and different kinds of exercise.
Is luminosity the same as Buddha nature? If the cognizant is not luminosity, then is the power or ability to trigger the cognizant the luminosity?
Luminosity is one aspect of the Buddha nature, I would say. But many times we use, you see these terms like luminosity, Buddha nature, shunyata, we use these different terms for different occasions.
And
luminosity equal to able to? Interesting. Yeah, it has its luminosity. It has this, it's not void. It's not like a negation. So from that sense, I guess you can say it's the ability such as compassion. Okay, I think that's enough for now. Yeah. So okay, just some list of sign of dissolution, probably good to know. But it's very subjective. And the order is also not fixed. When the sense or the sense consciousness disintegrate, more likely you will have the experience of mirage-like life. Mirage. It's mirage, yeah. And then when the white drop descends, lot of experience of bright light. We are talking about light now. I think those who have near-death experience, they seem to be talking about that a lot. Like a near-death, what tunnel? White, the light tunnel, I guess. Maybe similar, I don't know. Then when the red drop ascends, very reddish color, red feeling. Feeling red. This happens. When white and red drop meets, blank, dark, black. This is also when you faint. Okay. Again, elements. When the elements are beginning to disintegrate, on the most gross level, digestion problem. Okay, we are going back from the top. And also, the elements are very, very vast. Each element also have many different kinds. For instance, like a wind element has, I don't even know how to translate these. Even the element also, wind element, air element has 5 different kinds. There's an element, there's an air element that equalizes equalizing air element. When that disintegrates, digestion problem, that's the outer sign. And when the air element that keeps together the life force disintegrate, then you feel very unclear, like a groggy, sort of very unclear. And then I think this is like the air element, it's like a gravity air element. Then you will not be able to control the motions, like a saliva. Then the next element, which is Chenju, which is the air that the rising air element. I don't know how to translate this. I'm sure if you look at the properly translated, they have come up with some good term. You will forget to swallow the food. And then the next air element, which is the air element that pervades all the channels, when that disintegrates, your limbs will not function. Then, okay, so which is also simultaneously at that time, confluence of the channels are beginning to disintegrate. Then earth element dissolves. At that time, you will feel that your head is suddenly very heavy. Your feet will also not hold the rest of the body. You will not be able to lift even a small thing. You will have stain on your teeth without any reason. And also sort of a dehydration. And these are sort of outer sign. Inner sign, you will feel dull, unclear, and you will feel like you always want to unwrap yourself like this. You will like to throw your blankets or because you're always feeling you are wrapped. And then you will even say, please, let me rise, let me stand up. Okay, so that's the inner sign. Secret sign is you will have the projection of like lots of fireflies, like a fireflies, like sparkling lights. Okay, so that is actually the disintegration of the navel chakra. Now the heart chakra. So heart chakra is beginning to disintegrate. I'm just going through all the details now. Just very roughly. Then again, there are its own air element. And mainly the water element dissolves. And because of that, you will feel very thirsty. And you will feel that your nose shrunk, sort of, like nostrils are one, sort of. Then tongue will not stay kind of properly, it will end up you lose the control of the tongue. And agitation, inner sign, agitation. Secret sign is you see a lot of smoke, smoky, misty kind of. Then throat chakra begin to disintegrate. Now the fire element dissolves. So your air that you breathe in and out will become very cold. Your body will have not much of a heat. Inner sign is sometimes very clear, sometimes not at all clear. Sometimes you don't recognize anybody. Sometimes you do recognize everybody. The outer world you will not perceive clearly. Inner, okay, secret sign. Again, like a firefly, but much more than the earlier one. Then the secret channel or the chakra begin to disintegrate. The wind element beginning to disintegrate. So now you will have difficulty in breathing. You will not be able to hold your eyes properly. And then this is the time you will also hallucinate. And it is at this time, depending on what kind of character you have, if you have a, like very negative character, like anger, and if you have also done a lot of anger related activities during your living time, you will also project hideous images, and you will also, cry, maybe shout. If you are more calm, kind, compassionate person, accordingly, a good perception, calm, friendly experience. Secret sign around this time will be a lot of like light, but pleasant light, like a lamp, like a candle lights. Then eye, ear, nose, body, sense beginning to disintegrate. And then you begin to forget. But this is a very, how should I say, quite a big subject. Yes, your eyes may begin to disintegrate, doesn't mean that you will not see. It can be not see, but it can be something more scary, which scary may be more exciting maybe for some other people. Your eyes, right now, your eyes only see things, right? Your eyes don't taste, your eyes don't hear, your eyes don't do all the rest of the job. There, your eyes begin to hear things. Now imagine all the other senses do this amazing job. Then it becomes really, really intense. Anyway, begin to forget. You forget to discriminate things. And it's at that time your consciousness will dissolve into the space. And strangely, it is at this moment you will regain the color. You are, it has been all like down the hill, remember, like color, losing color. But few moments you will become so sort of radiant and even have some warmth coming back to the heart chakra. It is possible actually, with the right cause and condition, you can even come back. and not die, I guess, near-death experience. Now, if you don't come back from here, then that's it. No way. And then I think we continue from tomorrow. Is that okay? It's going to be a little difficult. Very, very technical. Okay.
So we will have a review session by Venerable Khenpo Sonam Phuntsok Ji at Manjushri Hall. So if you are interested, please join us. Please make sure you will wear mask and 1:30. So you are requested to be seated by 1:20 in the Manjushri Hall. Thank you.